We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. And my executive producer, Mason Fleming, has already had enough of me.
Just a little bit.
I just asked for something that you do every morning, and then you didn't do it.
Well, yeah, but the amount of times I get a shake of the head or a hand wave when I say, hey, you got a live spot here. A little peek behind the curtain. Chris doesn't want to do it sometimes.
No, I don't. No, I don't like to do a lot of this stuff.
He doesn't like talking to me, guys.
I don't. Then Mason will go, I'll do it. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it. I'll do it. All right, we got a lot to get to today. Really excited to be here with you. You can listen on all the apps. You can listen on the FM dial. You can watch us on Super Talk TV, YouTube, Rumble. Those are the big ones. Smash the subscribe button. Free to do. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It is massively helpful. We got an interview with Maria Bartiromo and the President of the United States, where we have some clips coming out now that we're going to bring you all the audio. We got some updates on Iran. We'll talk a little bit about Eric Swalwell and how, I think the Swalwell story, as much as it looks like it's getting darker and darker and darker for him, I think that the main thing that the mainstream media is refusing to acknowledge when it comes to Eric Swalwell is that all of these politicians are controlled in some shape or form by blackmail. And the moment Eric Swalwell decided not to drop out of that gubernatorial race because they didn't want two Republicans making it to the general, they decided release the Kraken, and then they went full bore on destroying that man's life and career. I don't think that he is above deserving it, and I think he's a scumbag, and he's the low of the low, don't get me wrong. But it is interesting to see how they sit on this stuff for years, and then they use it when it's absolutely necessary. And it makes you wonder, do they do the same kind of stuff on the Republican side too? I'm just curious. I'm curious. So we'll talk about that. Also, have you seen that TMZ set up an office in D.C.? Have you noticed that? TMZ? They're in D.C. now?
Say it one more time.
TMZ, the Hollywood tabloid reporter, rumor mill, was it Harvey Levin?
Yeah.
They now have a D.C. office.
Really?
Which is incredible. Because all of these politicians want to be celebrities so bad, so treat them like it. And a lot of these leftists are talking with them because they'll be like, hey, I'm with TMZ. And it's like, oh, you're a friendly outlet. It's like, no, dude. They're out for blood.
Slander 101.
So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. Let's begin on the Iran front. Donald Trump commenting on NATO this morning with Maria Bartiromo.
I'm doing a great job for the country and for the world. You know, we've had no help, zero from NATO. We're there for them. They're not there for us. You saw the chart that came out a couple of days ago with a big monster red ball. That was us. And all these little satellite balls. And it represented the money spent on military and NATO. And it's ridiculous.
United States, big balls. NATO, little balls. Is that what we're picking up from that? I feel like that was my takeaway. Am I wrong?
And they should have been better. They should have said, we'll send somebody. It's a small operation compared to a big operation. But NATO was not there for us. And what it means, if they're not there for us here, they're not going to be there for us. So why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO if they're not going to be with us? If they're not going to be with us on Iran, they're not going to be with us on a much bigger subject than Iran.
I mean, listen, he's not wrong when it comes to NATO. They have been weak on a lot of this. They should be in the fold a lot more than they are. We've basically had to twist their arm to be able to do anything. You know, the UK didn't even want us using their bases from the jump. Spain doesn't want us flying over their airspace. Yet, if they were to be invaded by Russia, they would be calling, crying, screaming, help us, please. Please, United States of America, help us. So that's the president on NATO. He also said that we are close to having this war over because Iran is desperate to make a deal because of the blockade. This is the president with Maria Bartiromo.
I had to divert because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. And you don't want to do that.
Well, you keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. But we'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
I mean, it's just, I don't know what the timeline is. You don't know what the timeline is. Nobody knows what the timeline is. We're speculating at this point. The original timeline from the administration was 4 to 6 weeks. This is now, what, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time that Donald Trump has said that we've won. It's close to over. We're wrapping this thing up. And I've gotten excited the past couple times when he said, we're done. It's close to over. We're wrapping this thing up. But each time I do that, I find that we go another week and the conflict still continues. I don't necessarily see how this wraps up shortly. I pray that it does, and I definitely want to be wrong, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. But the reporting is out there that it does look like the Iranians want to make a deal. Which Iranians? Do they have the power to make the deal? What are we talking about here? I mean, the details are a bit vague, but Peter Doocy was talking about this yesterday outside the White House on Fox News.
Good afternoon. President Trump is confident enough that a peace deal between the U.S. and Iran can be reached in the next couple of days that he told a New York Post reporter on the phone just now to stay put in Islamabad, near where the Pakistan peace talks are taking place. The quote is this. The president said, you should stay there, really, because something could be happening over the next 2 days, and we're more inclined to go there. It's more likely. You know why? Because the field marshal is doing a great job.
So it looks more than likely that we could be getting a peace deal, according to Peter Doocy, Fox News, the New York Post reporting that. So we'll see. We'll see. We're getting a lot more out of this interview with President Trump and Maria Bartiromo. We're going to bring you some of this. Donald Trump tweeted this morning, Truth Social, he did a truthy truth. He said, China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I'm doing it for them also and the world. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi will give me a big, fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. A little awkward, but he said, we are working together smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? But remember, we are very good at fighting if we have to, far better than anyone else. He was asked about China during this interview with Maria Bartiromo, and he confirmed to her that China is happy about the opening of the Strait of Hormuz.
China?
Yeah, that's what they say.
I had to divert because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Back on the NATO allies, apparently he has severed his relationship with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. This is development. Listen, I didn't see this interview. I'm kind of reacting to it in real time. I know that it is one of the bigger stories this morning. You know, anytime we get comments from the president. But he said that she's been negative. She's very negative.
What Europe has done with immigration, most of the countries, not all, What they've done with immigration is horrible.
Do we still have the same relationship with Italy right now and Giorgia Meloni?
No. She's been negative. Anybody that turned us down for helping with this Iran situation, we do not have the same relationship. Just so you know, Italy gets a lot of oil from the Strait. You can call it this.
So we don't have a good relationship with Italy anymore either. That's a shame. I like Giorgia Meloni, and I don't know, man. It's a lot of this stuff is getting wild. You know, the other day when he posted the picture of himself as Jesus, that got a lot of heat for. Riley Gaines spoke out against it, and then CBS asked him about Riley Gaines on an interview, and he's like, "I don't even like Riley Gaines." And it's like, okay, dude, like, why? What are we doing here? Like, Riley's awesome. Like, all of these wounds feel like they're self-inflicted from the president, and he's doubling down and pushing people away. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? He said that Europe is drafting a program and plan to open the Hormuz Strait without the United States. Maria Bartiromo said that. Donald Trump said that is sad. Let's listen to this. He said, "It's sad, by the way, it's opening. The ships are going back and forth."
Europe is now drafting a program and plan to open up the Hormuz Strait without the United States.
They're so sad. We're doing it now. By the way, it's opening. The ships are coming back and forth. Oh, without the United States. It just shows you, how can you have a country, how can you have a group of countries with that attitude? Look at Greenland. We should have Greenland to protect the world against Russia and China. The mention of it, all of a sudden they get, this country should not be paying trillions of dollars to NATO.
I agree with that. I don't think there's anybody in this audience that's going to disagree with that. The president went on, and he had some things to say about the midterms and winning the midterms.
Expect the Republicans to lose seats in the House, and what does that mean for your agenda?
Well, I just left with Mike Johnson and some great people, some great congressmen and women, and in the Oval Office. I think we're going to do good. Now, with that being said, when somebody gets elected president, that party always loses the midterms. I don't know why. I don't know why. Nobody could explain it. I asked people that are deep into the psychological world, I said, why is it that a voter votes for the opposite party? It's even when you have a good president. I think I had the greatest year, the greatest opening year I've read. The greatest, look, I ended 8 wars. A 9th is coming. But I ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever ended 1 war. Who's ended 1? Nobody. I ended 8. We have the biggest tax cuts ever. We have the biggest regulation cuts ever. The greatest economy ever, pretty much including the fact that I took a detour into Iran in order to stop something that could have destroyed the world, right? But even when you have a great president, they tend to lose the midterms. It doesn't make sense to me, so we're going to try turning it around. You know, in 50 years, I guess the president, the party with the president, has won twice. Why that happens, I don't know. We are really working hard to turn that around. We've had the greatest year in the history of the presidency, first year, and we should be giving credit. Look at the border. So we had a border that was an open civ. You covered it better than anybody.
So is that the message for voters going into the midterm elections? The border.
Yeah, I should get credit.
Leave them for?
Yeah, I think we should. Well, I think we have to bring it back to talk. We don't need help on the border. But, you know, I built over 1,000 miles of wall. We have to talk about it because we should be given credit for having taken this disaster where people were criminals were coming in from all over the world and pouring into our country. The worst thing, it's the worst thing that.
I mean, I agree with the president that he does need to get a little bit more credit on some of the domestic wins. The issue is that most of the domestic wins happened so early in his presidency that people have forgotten them. And we understand that the memory of the American public, it's like goldfish. We've talked about it many, many times here on the show, especially over the last week. The reason that the big tent is leaving is they feel like they have been sold out for international goals of the administration, and that the domestic goals have been completely ignored or forgotten about. They do need to work on the messaging. They do need to talk about building the border wall. They do need to talk about closing the border. They do need to talk about bringing down the crime numbers. They do need to talk about the infrastructure that they've been reshoring, the manufacturing that they've been reshoring, the $18 trillion in investments that they've received. I mean, all of this is good. It's all fantastic. But the conversation has been focused on what you've been doing elsewhere for other countries. Whether it's right or wrong, that's where the American public is. And we need to get back to a focus here first if we want to even have a chance at the midterms. I mean, that's just the reality. We'll talk a little bit more about Iran on the way. I'll bring you some of the comments from J.D. Vance at the Turning Point USA event last night. It's a weird thing. So Erica Kirk said that she had received some death threats and then sat the event out because of those threats. But the vice president, he was safe to be there. A little confusing. I don't know. If there's legit threats, why would you send the vice president in? And if the vice president feels safe, why doesn't Erica Kirk feel safe? I don't know. I don't want to overdiagnose it too much. The comments from J.D. Vance were great. He actually did a really good job answering a lot of the kids in the audience with any question that they had. We'll talk about that on the way. We'll take some of your phone calls as well. 615-737-9986. It's 9:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. 4 kids, 2 dogs, and baseball games nonstop. That's kind of the reality in my house right now. We always tell the kids to take the cleats off in the garage. They never do. I'm starting to give up. I'll be honest with you. I'm losing hope that they'll listen to me. But I never lose hope that we can get the carpets clean once the kids mess them up because we always call Zero Res. They have the Maha edition of carpet cleaning. They come in without harsh chemicals. They don't leave behind any soap residue. They use their exclusive ZR water system that actually gets everything out. And the carpets are going to look insanely clean. They're going to dry faster than you ever could have imagined. And they're going to stay cleaner longer. Trust me, take it from my experience. It matters when you got kids and dogs running in and out of the house all day. And right now is the perfect time to clean the house up. We're coming out of cold and flu season. We're jumping into spring, and it just feels good to reset the house. So call Zero Res today, 615-535-9376. 2 and 3 room specials going on right now. They can do the hallways too, 615-535-9376, or book online, ZeroResNashville.com.
expect the Republicans to
Coming up, we'll tell you which country is asking the U.S. to end the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Also, why the Natchez Trace Bridge is closed down for the next year. Those stories at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. Headlines on the way in less than 2 minutes. I also have a blockade update. Oh, you got to give me audio, Mason. This is what happens when I accidentally play Maria Bartiromo during the commercials when I'm running through stuff. Mason turns off my audio, and then he doesn't turn it back on. So then and Andy's training back there. So then I have to get his attention by passive aggressively saying his name.
No, I'm listening to
times.
you. I just choose to ignore it.
Okay, here's the update.
Is now in day 3, and so far it appears to be working and according to plan. Preventing ships from accessing Iranian ports, which leads to 2 things. Build up the pressure on the Iranian regime and starve it of much-needed income. So that's where we start. Good morning, everybody. Midweek here. I'm Bill Hemmer, live in New York City. Morning to you.
Yes, and reports are that the economic pressure is being felt by the Iranians. I forgot. I'm Dana Perino, and this is America's Newsroom. I was so ready to get into the news. Let's start here. So U.S. Central Command says that U.S. forces are maintaining their naval superiority in the Middle East. Commander Admiral Brad Cooper posting in part. In less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going in and out. And the numbers spell out the impact, with estimates that the blockade could cost the regime $435 million every day.
So meanwhile, President Trump laying out why Operation Epic Fury started in the first place, sitting down with Maria Bartiromo.
We've played some of that Maria Bartiromo. We'll have more of that on the way. We'll also have comments from J.D. Vance last night. But it does look like the blockade is working. They're choking out Iran. Is that going to bring them to the table? I mean, this is a country that killed 50,000, right? Is that what they say? 50,000 of their own citizens for protesting. Do you think that they're going to lose any sleep over their citizens dying because of hunger or anything like that? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the blockade is just what the doctor ordered. Only time will tell. It's 9:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Day 3, as we have been saying, of the U.S. blockade at the Strait of Hormuz.
No reports of any major incidents, but on the topic of the 2-week ceasefire that we're in the midst of, a short while ago, a senior U.S. official telling Fox News that the United States has not formally agreed to an extension of the ceasefire. There is continued engagement between the U.S. and Iran to reach a deal. Now, a short while ago, also, the BBC reported that the Iranian military is threatening to block shipping in the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Oman if the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues.
That's ABC's Matt Finn there. He also says that Saudi Arabia is pressuring the U.S. to end the blockade. New disturbing details about a Hendersonville musician charged with child sex crimes. The indictment lays out nearly 160 counts against Phil Vaught, including statutory rape, sexual battery, and sexual exploitation of a child.
According to that indictment, the crimes allegedly happened between 2015 and 2017. Kim German with the Sexual Assault Center in Nashville says delayed reporting is not uncommon, especially for young victims.
They don't know that anybody will believe them. The shame around feeling shame or embarrassment about what happened, that fear of shame and blame will keep them from talking.
Vaught's bond was set at $1.5 million.
Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter. Their officials believe there may be more victims, and they're asking anyone with information to call Hendersonville police. The Double Arch Bridge on Natchez Trace Parkway closed beginning today, and it won't open until next spring. Crews are adding a permanent pedestrian barrier there. Officials say since the 90s, more than 40 people have committed suicide on that bridge. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
37 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. In between the news, we like to share memes. I sent some bangers this morning to Mason.
Little meme farming.
We do. We just but humble meme farmers. I saw one. Find me on Instagram and let me know if you want me to send it to you at Chris Hand on Air. It's a little inappropriate, so I wouldn't post this on my story per se, because it's not, I'm a grown up, but it's also hilarious at the exact same time. So I send it to my friends privately. So it's called. These guys did a cinematic trailer for a superhero movie called Blackout Man. And this guy finds out that every time he gets blackout drunk, he's like saving the day. And so he just shows him waking up in a blackout, hungover phase.
Yeah.
And he's like, local drunk man saves family from fire. What? And then the U.S. government gets involved and they want him to fight the Russians because the Russians called him a lightweight. It's awesome.
So good.
I sent it to Sam, Dan's producer, and he's like, I need the full movie.
Full feature length.
So find me on Instagram if you want me to send you that. At Chris Hand on Air. If you like to laugh, that's there for you.
Worth the follow.
It is. All right, so we got some stuff to get to. What do we want to talk about? We were talking about Iran. I don't know if you've been paying attention. We're not in a war with Iran. It's a conflict. It's just a conflict, not a war. The United Arab Emirates, the UAE, Dubai, they're going to be getting involved, and they are going to be bringing military power to the Strait. That's the word on the street.
The third day of the American blockade here on the Persian Gulf behind me. So far, no reports of any major incidents, but on the topic of the 2-week ceasefire that we're in the midst of, a short while ago, a senior U.S. official telling Fox News that the United States has not formally agreed to an extension of the ceasefire. There is continued engagement between the U.S. and Iran to reach a deal. Now, a short while ago, also, the BBC reported that the Iranian military is threatening to block shipping in the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Oman if the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues. The U.S. says it's not allowing any ships in or out of Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz, but it is allowing other ships to use the strait. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper writing in full, a blockade of Iranian ports has been fully implemented as U.S. forces maintain maritime superiority in the Middle East. An estimated 90% of Iran's economy is fueled by international trade by sea. In less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into and out of Iran by sea. Now, Kepler reports that yesterday 3 vessels passed through the Strait of Hormuz, and Fox confirms a 4th ship, a Chinese vessel carrying oil and chemicals, passed as well. Now, President Trump posted the truth within the past hour. China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them also and the world. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. We are working together smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? Now, here in the Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia is pressuring the United States to drop the naval blockade, fearing it could cause the situation with Iran to escalate or further disrupt shipping routes. That's according to a Wall Street Journal report. Now, the UAE, the country that we're in, they have been very vocal about doubling down with their relationship with the United States and said they would even stand by the United States if force is used out on the Persian Gulf.
So the UAE is loading up. They're ready. They're ready to rock. Saudi Arabia is like, this is going to escalate things. What do you think? 615-737-9986. Trey Yingst, who has been in Israel, is reporting on Fox News that Iran is growing anxious, and it's because of the blockade, and he says that it's making them realize there's no scenario where they can win. This is Trey Yingst.
It's a great question, and we've been talking with U.S. officials. They say the Trump administration is not going to make the same mistakes that previous administrations made when it comes to dealing with the Iranians. They're not going to let the Iranians drag out these talks indefinitely. If the president does send another team back to Islamabad or a different location in the region, it would be to get a deal done or ultimately look at other options. We do understand there are conversations taking place about scheduling the second round of talks. But after the Iranians have had a few days to go back to their capital of Tehran and speak with top officials, the expectation is they would be able to come back to the negotiating table with a serious set of conditions and the consultations that were made in the Iranian capital that would allow them to make a final decision and create some sort of good faith agreement with the United States.
I mean, let's hope that happens. I'm gonna try and pray for that peace to go through. I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna pray for that peace to go through. I don't want this conflict to extend any longer. I think the ripple effects are far outweighing the positives at the moment of an extended conflict. I mean, if the goals were to go in there and destroy their military, set back their missile program, set back the nuclear capability, I mean, have we done that or have we not? Can we leave? I would hope so. But one thing is for sure, having these high-level talks with Iran is unprecedented, and nobody has been able to do anything like this other than President Trump. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, said that this is the highest-level negotiations that we have ever had between the United States and Iran.
You have to remember, Sandra, this is the highest-level talks ever between the Iranian regime and the United States. They came, they were direct, which the previous Ayatollah had absolutely refused to do. And it seems, as President Trump repeatedly says, they want a deal. They need to have a deal. The other interesting thing was they brought their central banker. And I don't think President Trump gets enough credit for the second national security policy memorandum he put in place in his second term was to reinstitute maximum pressure. Their economy is in free fall at the UN. We drove snapback sanctions, so the rest of the world has joined us. So time is not on their side here. And as President Trump says, we have the cards, not Iran. We'll see if they come back for a reasonable deal.
I hope that they do. I pray that they do. Stephen Miller was also making the rounds last night. I like Stephen Miller a lot. Big fan of what he does. But Miller is rather confident that this blockade is going to be the checkmate for Iran, and even went on to say that what you're seeing is a global reset that would reset the American power dynamic for 100 years. This is Stephen Miller last night on Jesse Waters.
Listen to a panickin, Jesse. You will do very well in life. Ignore the panicins.
Ignore the panicins.
They're the ones who warned of calamity in Venezuela and ended up being one of the greatest single foreign policy, military, geopolitical maneuvers in world history. What you're watching now in Iran with the implementation of this blockade is the total resetting of the American power dynamic for the next 100 years. President Trump is saying, we, the United States, have the world's not just most powerful military, most powerful navy. And whoever controls the seas is able to control the outcomes in any foreign policy showdown. And so President Trump has put Iran in a box. He's played the checkmate move. And so now, no matter what path Iran chooses, America wins. If Iran chooses the path of a deal, then that's great for the world. That's great for everybody. If Iran chooses the path of economic strangulation by blockade, then the world will pass Iran by. New energy routes will be established. New supply chains will be established. Other nations throughout the region, throughout the world, and especially America, will power the world, and Iran will become a footnote. So that's the choice Iran has, and President Trump has put America into a win-win posture.
Now, Stephen Miller says that this is a win-win posture, and that in the scenario where he's talking about with Iran, I get where he's coming from. I don't think Iran can militarily defeat us. I don't think that the United States is going to be brought to its knees by Iran by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I think the only thing that can bring the United States to its knees is, well, the United States. And when he talks about resetting this power dynamic, I mean, I think that there's a lot of truth to that, but who's going to control that power dynamic? And if this conflict goes on any longer, we're looking at a loss in the midterms, impeachment proceedings, criminal charges for the administration, and from there, a lame duck presidency for the remaining 2 years of the term. So I get a little nervous because if the Democrats ever regain power, everybody understands what the Democrats are going to do, right? Like, you know, It's going to be another crackdown on free speech like we saw during COVID. It's going to be mass amnesty for the 30 million illegal aliens that are here. It's going to be the Democrats nuking the filibuster so that way they can stack the SCOTUS courts. It's going to be nationwide mail-in vote, no voter IDs, 52 states, because D.C. and Puerto Rico are coming in hot if the Democrats regain power. They're going to arrest the MAGA influencers and the MAGA base. They're going to debank people. Like we know what the Democrats want to do because we have heard them say it over and over and over again. And this is what frustrates me so much with this detour, as President Trump puts it. This detour could end the galvanizing support and momentum that we saw in 2024. It could be the end of that. And that's a tough pill to swallow. And if the Democrats get back in power, we're never getting back in power because the Democrats are willing to do what the Republicans are not. Like I said, nuke the filibuster, stack the Supreme Court, make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state. This is what's giving me heartburn. I don't think that we're going to lose the battle with Iran, but we're going to lose the battle with the hearts and minds of the American people. And young men in particular are black-pilled extremely after this Iran conflict. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I get where Stephen Miller's coming from a American military perspective, but from an election perspective, which we do need to think about as we're, 6 months away from the midterm elections. We need to put a new focus on this, and we need to start stacking some domestic wins. And this isn't a new criticism. We actually had this criticism about President Trump before the Iran conflict started. Stop being internationally obsessed, and let's get domestically focused here. That's what we need to do. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Your phone calls are always appreciated. Senator John Kennedy on the public and private sector of Iran. This is why I love John Kennedy, but this statement is so true, and it's why I don't think we're going to lose militarily to Iran.
The public and private sector of Iran, if you look at it objectively, is being held together with duct tape and spit.
Duct tape and spit. He's probably pretty on the money. But these people are insane. They're radicals. They don't give a damn about their own people. So how long are they willing to let this go on? How far are they willing to take it? That is yet to be seen. I do like Senator John Kennedy, though. It's being held together by spit and duct tape. Last night in Georgia Bulldogs, University of Georgia, right? That's the University of Georgia Bulldogs. I'd have to ask Matt Murphy.
That's correct.
I think he likes the Bulldogs. I think so. Just not sure. But they were in Georgia. J.D. Vance had some takes on Iran, and a lot of people say that this is the perfect response for voters upset at President Trump over Iran. And we're definitely going to talk about this with a little bit more time than we had right now. But this is J.D. Vance last night.
That a lot of young voters don't love the policy that we have in the Middle East. Okay, I understand that. I also know that we've secured the border. We've lowered housing prices now for 8 months in a row, and there's going to be more to come beyond that. We've made America energy dominant, which has lowered electricity costs and things like that. We've made it so that we have the lowest murder rate in 127 years. I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue.
So it's a good take.
I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue. What I'm saying is don't get disengaged because you disagree with the administration on one topic. Get more involved. Make your voice heard even more. That's how we ultimately take the country back. It's not by you, if you get 5 things you want and 1 thing you don't want. I see way too many people, especially in sort of the online conservative, Twitter sphere.
So the thing that stuck out to me is when he said, don't get black-pilled. We have to take the country back. And I liked his answer right up until that point because, we've talked about it here on the show. This administration is a net positive for America. We can argue about these certain points, but I don't think that it should be dividing us in the way that it does. But he says this.
Heard even more. That's how we ultimately take the country back.
That's how we take the country back? With all due respect, Mr. Vice President, I thought we took the country back in November of 2024. Is it just me? And with all due respect, I thought when we gave Republicans the House, the Senate, they have the Supreme Court, and then the presidency, that we did take the country back and that Republicans were going to get in and be willing to fight as hard as they said they were willing to fight. And we have yet to see that. So while we're upset over the Iran conflict, there's a lot of angst and frustration with the Republican Party on the whole. How many times have we asked for the filibuster to be nuked? We still have a partial DHS shutdown going on in this country while terror threats are raised because of this conflict going on in Iran. And we can't get anything done. The Save America Act hasn't been passed. How long are we going to wait to take the country back? This is how you turn off younger voters. When you go, well, if we really want to take the country back, vote harder. That is a black-pilling line for so many young people. And while J.D. Vance is usually very, very eloquent, that was a flub that many people latched onto last night. When we take the country back, we gave you the country back. We showed up in record numbers for the president in November of 2024. Massive numbers. Every single swing state. The popular vote, the electoral college vote. I thought we did take the country back. Maybe I'm wrong. 9:53 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs with a message for you. President Trump is doing what politicians have promised for decades, but never delivered on, actually fighting to lower prescription drug costs for American families and seniors. And he's forced Big Pharma to make deals, reformed pharmacy benefit managers, and launched Trump RX. That's the platform to buy medications at dramatically reduced prices. That's real relief for Tennessee families, seniors, veterans, and anyone who's ever had to choose between a prescription and putting food on the table. But right now in Nashville, some politicians are pushing Senate Bill 2040, the so-called Fair Prescription Act. They say it sounds reasonable, but it's not. Estimates are that if it passes, it would force the closure of hundreds of pharmacies across Tennessee overnight. That could mean thousands of jobs eliminated and over 1.5 million patients scrambling to find care. Many of these pharmacies serve rural communities where the nearest pharmacy is 30 minutes away. SB 2040 would also cut off mail-order delivery, and that hurts veterans, seniors who can't drive, and Trump RX itself. They say this is big government at its worst, trying to solve a problem by creating a handful of more problems. Donald Trump is counting, people are counting on President Trump to deliver relief to Tennessee patients, and they say this could shut it down. Conservatives for lower health care costs are sounding the alarm. You can learn more and decide for yourself at protecttnrx.com.
Up ahead in the news, stolen rental cars like some from B&A ending up in Mexico. That story at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Going to Mike in Springfield real quick. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Chris, Mike, Spring Hill.
Oh, Spring Hill. What's up, man? You doing all right?
No problem. Hey, sadly, this is where we're missing Charlie Kirk. His ability to get over to the young folks, what Trump is doing and the benefits, we're just missing that now.
Yep.
And, you know, these young voters, I watch Jesse Waters every now and then. Johnny goes out. And to steal from Rush, we have a low information voters out there in the young. A lot of them don't have a clue what's going on, and sadly, that's where Charlie Kirk came in, and he was able to get the message across.
I mean, to your point, some of the last messages that we have from Charlie were on potential war with Iran, which he was not a fan of. So the young voters look at what's going on now, and they're like, this isn't what Charlie would have wanted. I'm going to play some, and I appreciate the call, Mike. I'm going to play some clips from J.D. Vance in a little while. He got interrupted by a protester last night. And I have a feeling that the protester wasn't a liberal. I have a feeling the protester was a black-pilled conservative. We'll talk about that on the way. But just in case you haven't been keeping score at home, Charlie Kirk on Iran.
Here's where I stand and where the MAGA base stands. We do not want U.S. boots on the ground. We do not want American kinetic involvement. This is Israel's war.
Make sure we don't go to war against Iran, which would be a profound mistake for our country. So that's a really, really important thing.
It's pathologically insane. I'm sorry. It is. Do you understand how large Iran is? It's massive. It's a very big country. It's mountainous. It makes Afghanistan and Iraq look like a cakewalk.
This is more Israel pushing for Iran. But is that America's problem? That's I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan. They were wrong about the Taliban. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about the Arab Spring. They were wrong about Yemen. They were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula. They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian. But hey, 10th time's a charm. This time we're actually right.
So when people say, you know, we need Charlie Kirk, I absolutely agree. But the youth voters, the Gen Z, the millennials, they're still watching Charlie stuff. And the latest that we have from Charlie on Iran sounds like that. It's 10:01, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The Justice Department being prevented from investigating the Fed's multi-billion-dollar renovation project. ABC News reports that Justice Department investigators paid a visit to the Federal Reserve on Tuesday. Correspondent Stephen Portnoy picks it up from there.
Sources say 2 prosecutors and an FBI agent were turned away when they showed up unannounced and requested a tour of the Fed's ongoing renovations. Attorney Robert Hur, who investigated Joe Biden's handling of classified documents as special counsel, is now representing Fed Chair Jerome Powell. In a letter to U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, Hur said it is not appropriate for the prosecutor's office to try to circumvent a recent federal court decision quashing a subpoena probing the costly construction project.
Now, that project has been plagued by cost overruns and has sparked the president's ire. In Atlanta, a DHS employee has been murdered at the hands of a Nigerian man who became a naturalized citizen during the Biden administration.
That is 26-year-old Ola Olo Keaton Aiden Abel, facing murder and aggravated assault charges, among others.
That's 11 Alive in Atlanta. They reported Abel went on a killing spree, shooting a woman outside a Checkers and a man outside a grocery store.
And then, a few hours after that, just before 7 a.m., 40-year-old Lauren Bolus was shot and stabbed to death as she walked her dog on Battle Forest Drive. A neighbor tells us she ran outside after hearing about 6 or 7 gunshots.
When I came out, he was still standing there. He was pulling her clothes, her pants off her. Like, I'm standing at the end of the driveway. He didn't care at all.
11 Alive is reporting that Abel is a convicted felon. Convicted child rapist Matthew Ball has been sentenced to 438 years in prison. The Hendersonville man convicted in March after a 10-year-old girl told investigators that he had been abusing her since she was 4 years old. Other victims in Tennessee and in Texas came forward, reporting abuse over a 13-year period. Matthew Ball will not be eligible for parole or early release. Nashville police have arrested a man for allegedly stealing rental cars and then driving them to Mexico. Here's News 2's Megan Fee.
Luis Rodriguez-Collazo is accused of renting a truck from B&A without verified information. Police say that truck hit a license plate reader close to the Mexico border in Texas, then disappeared. Metro Police believe Rodriguez-Collazo obtained multiple other vehicles from rental car companies using aliases at B&A and at airports across the country.
He used a fraudulent driver's license in this case, and News 2 didn't report if Collazo is in the country legally. That is the latest news. Stick around for weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 7 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You're welcome to join the show any way you'd like. The text line, the phone line, same number, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. You can also jump in the chat on YouTube or Rumble. You can find me on social media at Chris Hand on Air. I've had a lot of people hit me up on Instagram to see that trailer that we were talking about for Blackout, man. Here's what I'm going to do. If you follow me on Instagram, at Chris Hand on Air, I'm going to make a special, private, offensive meme group chat. At Chris Hand on Air. That sounds like a fun idea, doesn't it? Mason's like shrugging. He knows it's a good idea, but he's nervous about the implications about what I might send.
Nervous about that, and it could get a little volatile.
That's why I'm doing it off the air, on my personal time.
Yeah.
Commercial breaks are my personal time. It's called a break for a reason. So that's when I'll do it.
Got to catch your breath.
At Chris Hand on Air if you want to join the meme chat. We'll do that over there on Instagram. At Chris Hand on Air. Let's go to Jeff in Murfreesboro real quick. What's up, Jeff? How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. What do you got?
I just want to say that I was reading about the consumer sentiment index that University of Michigan does. Last month it was 53. This month it's 47. 47.6. They said it's the lowest. The lowest it's been in the nearly 75-year history. The previous low was under Biden, 50. The previous low was, and of course they said they took it before the ceasefire. They said it'd been kind of coming on, I guess.
Yeah, they've been doing this at the University of Michigan since 1952, and as of the 10th of April, it was lower than it has ever been.
Ever been 47.6.
Yep.
So I mean, what something I want to ask you. Why are there certain? It seems like everything. Some people, anything that Trump does is good. I don't care what it is. Anything he does, I don't care. He could, like he said when he's running the first time, I could kill 3 people on Fifth Avenue in New York City and still get votes. That's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, when you bring up a quote like that, I obviously know that you're a Democrat.
Well, that don't matter.
It does. It does.
No, it does not.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Okay.
It certainly skews the conversation.
Okay. Well, are you a Trump person? Do you like what Trump's doing right now?
I am a Trump person. I voted for Donald Trump 6 times.
Right.
I actively helped get him elected in 2024. I wasn't just sitting on the bench sharing memes. I was out in the streets doing my part. And on the whole, I think that he's been fantastic for this country, far better than the Democrat-installed candidate that we could have had as president, Kamala Harris, who, I don't know if you know this, would have been an absolute train wreck.
Oh, I know. We wouldn't have a country. We'd be a third world country if he was in right now. We'd be so hard. We'd be a disaster. We wouldn't know what's going on.
It's true. It's true.
China would take us over in 5 minutes. You are a nut.
No, I'm not a nut. You don't think you don't think the mass amnesty of 30 million people would destroy this country? You don't think D.C. and Puerto Rico? You don't think D.C. and Puerto Rico as a state would destroy this country? You don't think nuking the filibuster and letting the Democrats do whatever they want would destroy this country? Hey, let me ask you a question, Jeff. How do you feel about minors, children, having their genitals removed? Because that's the stance of the party that you're supporting.
I don't think they should unless it's under 18. No.
Well, I mean, hey, you give your cosign of confidence every time you cast a ballot for a Democrat candidate.
Listen what the Republican Party wants. They want no taxes, nobody working in government, and they want business to run wild.
Jeff, I'm already a Republican. You don't have to sell me on them. You don't have to sell me on them. I love that idea. You want to pay? How much taxes do you want to pay? You want to pay more taxes?
I'll pay for my services. You don't want to pay to get your mail, your garbage picked up?
Oh, the humanity. Republicans don't want taxes. Is that your selling point?
No, you want no tax at all. No tax.
Yeah, you're damn right I don't.
No tax.
You're damn right. You want taxes?
I'll pay them. I don't care.
Oh, hey, why don't tell you what? It's tax day, baby. It's tax day. I got a bill. I got a bill coming. Will you cover it for me, Jeff?
And then you can do it, babe.
You want to cover my tax bill for me, Jeff?
Well, I don't know, Kevin.
You love paying taxes.
I probably can't. So you're probably so loaded. You and Matt Murphy so loaded. You riding your Rolls Royce every day to WTN.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Come on, man.
That's me in my Rolls Royce. I like Jeff. I'm not even gonna front. All right, I like Jeff. I hope he calls back. He said the Republican Party doesn't want taxes, and they want businesses to thrive. Are you trying to sell me on the Republican? I'm already a Republican. Let's go to let's do Rick in Columbia real quick because he's been holding for a minute. What's up, Rick?
Hey, Chris. I probably shouldn't say this, but that caller Jeff from Murfreesboro, he's been banned from other radio shows. He wants over the air concerning Phil Valentine's death said he had it coming due to his stance against COVID. So can't pay a whole lot of attention to what that guy says. He's a nut.
Yeah, that doesn't exactly shock me. What's one bit? I mean, Democrats saying cruel and insane things. That's part and parcel there, Rick. What do you want to talk about?
Well, Chris, first of all, enjoy listening to you today, my friend. Concerning Nancy Pelosi's current interview involving Swalwell.
Yes, sir.
Chris, I had a long career with the Nashville Metro PD. I was involved in a lot of interrogations. And her posturing at an interview is classic for one telling a lie. You may have noticed when she was first asked if she had any prior knowledge of Swalwell having nefarious involvements with women, she immediately looked down. That's a dead giveaway. One does that trying to buy time to form the lie they're about to tell. Of course she knew.
Yeah.
Of course many other Democrats knew, and they covered up for his butt until he was no longer needed.
Well, and I don't think they covered it up. I think they held it over his head. I think those two things are a bit different. I don't think they were looking out for a friend. I think that they were saving it for in case of emergency break glass. And when you get yourself in a situation in California where the two leading candidates in their state's open primary are Republicans and they're going to go to the general, that was an emergency worth breaking glass for. So when they asked nicely and he said no, they said, all right, no problem. You make your own decisions. And then we see what we see today.
I like that. I think I changed my mind. I believe that's what they were doing. But anyway, enjoy your show, my friend. Keep up the good work.
Hey, I appreciate you, Rick. We'll talk about Swalwell here in a little bit. I do have the Nancy Pelosi comments. I got a lot of comments from a lot of Democrats. They had no idea. They had no idea that was going on. Strange. Robert in Nashville, you're up next on Super Talk. What's up, man? We disagree, and I'm here for it. Let's have a good conversation.
Hey, Chris. How are you, buddy? Good to talk to you again. I think you're looking at the whole J.D. Vance thing in Georgia a little bit. I see it a little bit differently. I know you have issue with what he said about taking back the country, and you said you thought we did in the elections and all of that.
Yeah.
One election cycle is not going to take this country back, my friend, and it's playing out every day in the courts. There's so much going on. I think what he was saying is not only do we have to deal with radical activist judges that are putting a wrench in everything. It's not like he sets something in motion. It takes a while for that to act on. And when a judge stops it, you have to restart that whole big wheel again in another direction.
But I guess
it's not instantaneous.
I guess my frustration is that with all the things you're talking about, judges getting in the way, it's because Donald Trump has had to do it via executive order. And when we give the Republicans the House and the Senate, and congressional Republicans don't want to fight, congressional Republicans don't want to put in the work. It's like, who are we taking the country back from? In November of 2024. We did everything that was asked of us as Republicans, and then some.
Yes, that's a start. However, what you still have to, and I think you're going to agree with this, are there not a lot of rhinos?
Yes.
In Congress?
I mean, I think our Senate Majority Leader is one of the big ones.
Not only do you have to deal, so I think what J.D. Vance was saying when he said, hey, go out there, and he actually said this, go back and listen to the tape again, get involved. Did he not?
No, he did. But I would say
go run, not as a rhino, but as somebody with actual principles that wants to do the right thing.
But
the
okay, so
rhinos, they're on one side.
I would gently push back though. I would gently push back though and say President Trump is out there endorsing Lindsey Graham.
And it's
You know what I mean? So it's
You're
So I get where you're coming from, and I also get the sentiment of J.D. Vance, and I do agree with okay, we disagree on one issue. We shouldn't throw everything in the trash and throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I'm not a burn it all down kind of guy. I mean, but there are young voters that are listening to the burn it down guys, and the burn it down guys
part of the problem with young voters. And no offense to them, because I've got one right now, just turned 18, so look out. Hopefully we raised him right.
I mean, I'm sure you did if you're listening to this radio station.
I appreciate that. look, the reality is this: the young generation is more instant gratification, and that's just the reality. And what we are talking about, what you talk about every day, is never going to be instant gratification. It takes time. It's like planting a garden
I do agree with that.
I
I agree with a lot of that. Here would be my big issue, and this is the big issue for young voters. Donald Trump comes out and he says, we need H-1Bs. We don't have enough talent in this country. Self-inflicted.
Yeah.
We have H-1B workers at the counter at a 7-Eleven. Like on video, documented H-1B. So let's start there. So
Hey,
that's
you're not wrong.
that's American jobs. That's young voter jobs. That's not instant gratification. That's a slap in the face. We have Donald Trump saying that the Epstein files are done. The DOJ dropped the ball on it. And while I won't put the blame entirely at Trump's feet for that, it is his administration and the buck stops with him. Even his wife is calling for accountability now. So that rubs people the wrong way. And then this Iranian conflict, man, nobody voted for this. No new wars, no forever wars was a key promise. So, like, I don't think that any of these things necessarily vibe with the instant gratification theory that you have. I think some of that could be true when it comes to affordability. Some of that could be true when it comes to tariffs or prices coming down. But I think that there are many things that we can point to and say this is why the younger generation is upset. And I get a lot of texters that say, well, screw the younger generation, pull themselves up by the bootstraps. I'm like, guys, if you want to say that, that's fine. But this is the largest voting bloc in the country. Like, we need to prioritize their needs and what they're looking for in this country, or we're going to lose it entirely. Like, if we think we can afford to lose the younger generation, then we're thinking that we can afford to lose the country. And
can I relate it to let's say a college experience?
Yeah.
For the younger generation, you go to school and you study your craft. Let's call it business or whatever, right? Or the medical field. You go to med school and all the other stuff, and then at some point you get into the real world, and some of it's a little bit different than what you studied in school, and you have to learn the hard way, right? That, hey, this is how this is done in this situation, kind of thing. I didn't learn that in school. This is it's kind of real life, where when your parents told you, hey, at some point you're going to have to join the real world, idealism is one thing, but practicality is another,
Yep.
So I think it's a fine line. There's no perfect answer. Look, I know you're a little tough on this whole thing with Iran. Look, I think it needed to be done. It's needed to be done for years. It was never going to be pretty, ever. I just think that the alternative is far worse than any of us can imagine. People are arguing about cost of living and all the other stuff and cost of housing, yada, yada. And I tell you what, go try to buy a house after a nuclear explosion. Buy whatever house you want and live in it, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Now, I guarantee you the cost of living then will be real low. You're not going to want the house because it's unlivable kind of thing. So the alternative, it just had to be done. It's ugly. It's not perfect. You and I agree that he doesn't do things perfectly. The whole Jesus thing was.
But I would just say if we had accountability for Epstein, if we did have major, massive deportation numbers to point to, if we did have prices coming down, if we did reel in the H-1B visa scam and didn't say that we don't have talent in this country, I think a lot of young voters would let the Iran stuff slide. I think the Iran stuff is really the straw that's breaking the camel's back here.
But it needs to be done. You
can make that argument, but I've talked to a lot of young people, and it's like Muhammad Ali when they wanted him to go to Vietnam. He's like, no Vietnamese ever called me the N-word, and it's like, these young voters are like, no Iranian ever called me a Nazi, So it doesn't resonate with them the same way it does with others, which is why I would say if this was the only thing that they could point to as a misstep, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. They might be protesting against it and upset about it, but they would still support the president and trust him through this. But it's just
right.
They're looking at this as a pattern of things happening.
Yeah, just going back to the Vance thing, just consider that I think he was asking those people, hey, if you don't like it, get involved. Go out there and replace some of these rhinos. Go get involved and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd cut him a little bit of slack on that. And he's right. We're not going to agree on everything. But if you can get 85 or 90% of what you want out of it, you can't. I mean, you and I don't agree all the time, and I like you a lot.
Yeah, no, same. I don't think that I don't want to make perfect the enemy of good. But
right. Hey,
but
I got to get going. Have a great day. But hey, keep doing what you're doing, Chris, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.
All right, brother. Take it easy. It's 10:24. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Eli, hang on the line. Eli is a younger voter from Smyrna, and he wants to weigh in on the conversation. So we'll get to that call next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In the meantime, I got to tell you about my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Dr. Mitch is amazing. It's okay. Don't worry. It's just radio, dude. It doesn't matter. Like this is such a fake job. Ryan's back there training, and I saw him put his hands up when he hit the sound. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. But people do care if they're living in pain. How about that for a radio segue? If you're living in pain, you need to talk to my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Dr. Mitchell is unbelievable, and they have the most advanced tech in the industry. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, numbness, or tingling in your hands or legs, why haven't you called the Wellness Institute of Nashville yet? These guys are going to fix everything, and they're not going to use surgery, opioids, or painful injections. No. They're going to use spinal decompression, non-surgical spinal decompression, which is currently 47% off. On top of that, they have brand new devices like the HydroWave, which is going to stimulate your own stem cells for healing at the cellular level. They also have anti-gravity machines, robotic lasers, cryo machines, and more. Dr. Mitchell has studied and practiced around the world. Bring your MRI report and watch a doctor talk to you about it. He'll break it down in a way that you can understand, and he'll give you a plan to get back to a pain-free life. It starts with a phone call, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or find them online at painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com.
Coming up, why dozens of Amazon delivery drivers are angry in Lebanon. We've got that story coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Eli in Smyrna. He's a younger voter, wanted to weigh in on the conversation. What's up, Eli?
Hey, Chris. First time, long time. I love the show. Love what you do. I just wanted to say I'm 27 myself, and me and a bunch of friends, we've all voted for Trump for the past 3 years, but now he started to turn a bunch of us off. I just wanted to give our perspective on it to the older audience because they don't seem to be understanding. It's the fact that the mass deportations haven't happened. A lot of things he ran on was that we're not going to send aid to foreign countries, just like Biden did with Ukraine, and now we're doing that with Israel. A lot of us think that TV's pulling the strings behind Trump, even if that isn't the case. We're getting involved in Israel stuff, and the economy was supposed to be more affordable, and now it's looking like none of us are going to be able to own homes within the next 25 years unless you have family wealth coming in, and the gas is going up, and it's just all compounding all at once. And especially with the Epstein stuff, too, we were promised that people were going to be put in handcuffs and brought to justice, and none of that's happening. It's just real sad to see.
How old are you, Eli?
I'm 26.
You're 26. Are you married? You got a girlfriend? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm married, and I have a 1-month-old daughter.
Oh, nice. Do you own your own home?
I don't. I rent.
How many people your age do you know with kids?
There's a handful, not too many. It's not very affordable for them.
Do you think a lot of people your age are putting that off because they can't afford it?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk to them, and they say it's just the economy's terrible, and I can't afford to raise a kid. I can't afford to pay for a hospital bill to give birth, and so they're just waiting on things to get better.
When you're looking at the political landscape, what are you thinking you might do come the midterms?
I'll still vote Republican. You know, I gotta support my side. I don't want the opposite thing to happen. You know, I don't want the Democrats to get in and just ruin everything that's been set forth thus far, even though I may not agree with some of it. I still want to stick to Republican.
What would you do if you had a direct line to the president? What would you tell him?
I'd tell him to work on the economy and domestic stuff more than international. And like you said earlier, just push domestic things and kind of pull back on the international things. I totally understand what he's doing in Iran, but I just think he's gone about it in all the wrong ways.
I hear you, man, and I think a lot of people share that same opinion. I appreciate you calling in, Eli. Call in anytime. It's 10:31. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 10:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And Congress is taking action on funding Homeland Security. House Speaker Mike Johnson a short time ago announcing Republicans will work to pass a skinny reconciliation package. It's a sidestep for Democrats. He's also confirmed that Democrat Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick may be expelled after an ethics committee investigation concludes next week for allegedly stealing $5 million in FEMA funds.
They investigated and gave her so much due process that it took more than 2 years because she resisted it. I expect that they will come forward with a recommended punishment for the Congress, and I suspect that may be expulsion. In my view, that would be appropriate.
Expulsion has only been used, he said, 6 times since 1789. And dozens of Amazon delivery drivers who were laid off suddenly last month are reportedly still waiting for their final paychecks. Fox 17 is reporting Pave It Forward Logistics in Lebanon told its workers that it was closing up shop the day they closed their doors on March 31st. The owner of the company claims Amazon withheld funds and he can't afford to pay anyone. The laid-off workers say they plan to sue Pave It Forward. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and they are presenting the Spring Breathe Easy Package. This is designed for you to clear out the dust, the allergens, the pet dander from your system before the summer heat arrives. This powerful package includes an AC tune-up, plus a professional indoor air quality check to make sure that your family is breathing in the cleanest air possible. You're also going to receive a dust inspection and premium air duct cleaning. That's going to remove the built-up debris that is hiding deep inside that system. But that's not all. Busy Bee is also going to install a whole home germicidal system to help reduce airborne contaminants. And with premium service, you're going to get a bonus unit fog deodorizer, which is going to leave your system so fresh and so clean. Now, you're going to get all this value for just $11.99 on 1.5 to 3 ton systems, regularly $1,800, or $15.99 for 3.5 to 5 ton units, regularly $20.99. Take advantage of this deal today. Call 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
Now, with Venezuela, and we just so you understand, the people of Venezuela, they say if I ran for president of Venezuela, I'm polling higher than anybody has ever polled in Venezuela. So after I'm finished with this, I can go to Venezuela. I will quickly learn Spanish. It won't take too long. I'm good at language. And I will go to Venezuela. I'm going to run for president.
.37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I've really had a great time the past few days with the amount of callers that we've had, everybody weighing in on this conversation. I think we need more conversation, not less. I think that's how we get through these disagreements, not siloing ourselves in echo chambers. So I appreciate all you guys calling in, whether you agree, disagree, whether you're mad or happy. I really do appreciate it. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Let's go to William in North Nashville for starters. What's up, Will?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I wanted to kind of reset the discussion a little bit, being a much older person in my 70s and buying houses when I was in my 20s, when interest rates were 18 and 19% because of spending. The myth was we've got to raise interest rates from the Federal Reserve to fight inflation. That never worked. Every time the government spends money is what makes inflation go up. You can't raise gas prices enough, as hard as it is to deal with paying in the pump. It's government spending. And it didn't get under control until the Congress, headed by a Democrat, Tip O'Neill, worked with President Reagan to get government spending under control, and interest rates for most of my life have dropped from the 18%. The last loan I got was 3.5%. So it takes a Federal Reserve that's not gouging the American public. If you look at what the inflation rate has done from 20 through 22, and now the interest rate is way too high from the Federal Reserve compared to what it should be based on inflation.
Well,
They're
I mean,
making money for the bank.
So you're talking about younger people buying homes. That's kind of where you're rebutting, right? I'm following, correct?
That's number one.
Well, can I just say though that the average home price was a fraction of what it was on your first home, and that down payment was a fraction of that.
And I made $2.25 an hour. So it's relative, right?
I mean, to a certain extent, but wages have not rose with the rate of inflation, and everybody understands that.
Oh yeah, it never does. That's why you can never pay enough to defeat out of control government spending, and just keep putting Democrats in the Congress, and you'll be right back as bad as it was 50 years ago. Look who's run the Congress. The 65% of the Congresses for the last 100 years. People talk about the president's budget. Remember Trump's first budget, the 2018 budget. Congress wouldn't even have meetings on it. They said it doesn't matter. We do the spending. He doesn't. So we need to understand. And one of the problems in 22 is everybody talked about a Democrat that wasn't running, Biden. They should have been talking about the Democrats in Congress so we can turn this thing around. Number two to be thinking about when we look at this, prices are coming down. My grocery prices are down about 12% from where they were in 22. I haven't paid as much for gas as I was paying in North Nashville at $4.29 a gallon in 22 when we had real high inflation rate, and the price of oil per barrel is cheaper today than it was in 22, and is cheaper than it was from 2010 to 2014. We forget the short-term history of how bad it is when the Democrats are running things. I was born a Democrat, raised a Democrat, come from Nashville all my life. But I never changed. The Democrats became communists, and the Republicans became Democrats. I would like for people to think about those things.
My only pushback would be that when prices are higher now than they came in when Trump came into office. Gas prices are higher.
No, they are not.
Gas prices.
Absolutely,
gas
they are
prices.
not.
Excuse me. Gas prices are higher than when Trump came into office.
Yes, they are. They are higher in the last month. But everything at the grocery store is down. Everything. Bread, eggs, meat, hamburger, sausage, all of that is down. As much as 12%. Now, if gas prices stay high, that's a problem, right? But if we don't get the government spending under control and get something that controls what's going on, it's just going to have we'll be looking at this as the good old days in 10 years.
I mean, I agree with you on government spending, and I think Donald Trump has done a great job at eliminating a lot of federal jobs. But when you talk about government spending, $1 trillion for a war in the Middle East that a lot of people didn't really want to get into, I mean, that's a lot of government spending, and we're already $39 trillion in debt. When you talk about the foreign aid money that's flying out the door to, 170-something countries out of 192 countries in the globe, that's insane when we're $39 trillion in debt. There are things that this government could do to rein that in today if they wanted to. And I think the frustration is everybody looks at it and they go, there's no desire there to do that.
Yeah, and it'll get worse if you make a change, if you don't stay the course.
Yeah, well,
The young man that said he's going to keep voting Republican for his Congress and everything. If everybody will do that, that will have a good turnaround. And the biggest mistake I saw happening in the last 20 years is when the Tea Party allowed themselves to become kind of absorbed by the Republicans instead of staying off, and we're not getting
the Tea Party. The Tea Party got co-opted and destroyed from within. I agree with you there.
Absolutely, we were on the right track, and the narratives changed. I don't want to keep you tied up. I just wanted to present a few
But
facts
William,
from
I would just say to you that the same thing that you said about the Tea Party movement, the younger voters are saying about the MAGA movement.
And their alternative is to stop.
They're just black-pilled, man. They don't know what to do. I'm with you. I don't think that they should not vote in the election and allow the Democrats to take power. We're on the same side there. But we need to be able to reach these young voters, and that needs to come from the administration. I thought J.D. Vance did a good job last night of trying to reach those younger voters. He did the Turning Point USA event with Andrew Colvett. It was supposed to be Erica Kirk. But he answered a lot of questions for a lot of people. He did get interrupted by a protester. And when he was interrupted by a protester, a lot of people online are thinking that he was interrupted by a liberal. I don't necessarily think that that's the case. It very well could be, but I think that it could have been a black-pilled conservative as well. So let's start there with J.D. Vance last night at the Turning Point USA event in Georgia. He gets interrupted, and somebody's screaming, "Jesus Christ does not support genocide."
Those who had survived the Holocaust, I certainly think the answer is yes, and I agree. Jesus Christ does not. I agree. Jesus Christ certainly does not support genocide. Whoever yelled that out from the dark, he certainly does not. I think that's pretty easy. I think that's a pretty easy principle.
That's easy enough.
Okay, so here's a guy. Let me just say this. This is a guy. No. First of all, random dude who's shouting. Can I finish my point and then I'll respond to what you just shouted? Is that okay? Okay, great.
Yeah, can we give him 1 second to answer this?
So he waits a second, he finishes his thought, and then he comes back to the protester. And listen, Vance does what Vance does. He's fantastic. So he responds to the protester directly on the comments of a Gaza genocide happening.
To respond to this guy here, he said, I believe he said the administration supports a genocide in Gaza. And here's my response to that. When we came in, the humanitarian situation in Gaza was an absolute catastrophe. You know who's the person who got a peace agreement in Gaza? Donald J. Trump. So if you want to complain about what happened in Gaza, so if you want, sir, to complain about what happened in Gaza, why don't you complain about Joe Biden and the last administration? We're the administration that solved that problem. And by the way, not only was our administration like the administration that solved the problem, but the president. Excuse me, sir. Right now, you see more humanitarian aid coming into Gaza than it has any time in the past 5 years because we have taken that situation seriously. And that's one of the things that I'm proud of about our administration is whether it's there or Thailand and Cambodia, we have consistently tried as much as we can.
I love J.D. Vance. I love the way he responds to that. He's absolutely right. Donald Trump did get that peace deal done in Gaza. Looking forward to another peace deal here shortly, soon, hopefully, praying. But I don't – there's a lot of people that will listen to that clip and will say, that was a liberal. That was a Hamas-supporting liberal. And I think that you need to reorient yourself to the fact that there are a lot of conservatives that aren't the biggest fans of Israel right now. And it's because of situations like that. And they're at a Turning Point USA event. And I just want to remind you what Charlie Kirk said about Gaza just about, a year or so ago?
The whole country is. Gotta be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza.
Yep.
I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
I mean, that was Charlie Kirk. These are conversations that go on in conservative circles. These are conversations that younger voters are having. And a lot of these younger voters see the fact that there is an Israel influence in the government. Whether it's just an ally, it's good, it's bad, it's negative. These young men look at this war in Iran that they're going to be asked to fight in, and they look at it and they go, this is Israel's war. Why are we there? The administration hasn't done a good job of separating that or answering that question at all. And the result of it is just plummeting support for the nation of Israel. And people that are true dyed-in-the-wool Israel supporters need to take note of this, because this is crazy. When you look at their net favorability from 2022 to today, it's plummeting for men under age 50.
They have very much shifted away from Israel. Look at this. Net favorability of Israel among men under the age of 50. In 2022, not too bad, but not too hot to trot either at -3 points. By 2025, again, down we go, minus 22 points. That is a 19-point shift in just 3 years' time. But it gets even worse. Look at this for Israel. Minus 47 points. That's a 44-point shift away from Israel on the net favorability amongst young men who, of course, shifted massively into the Republican column back in 2024, and they have been shifting away from Israel over the last 4 years.
If you're not paying attention to the conversation online, you're missing a lot of the conversation. There is an area of the internet that believes truly that our government is controlled by Israel. And the administration hasn't really done a great job at answering these critiques. They just haven't. Whether it's true, whether it's false, I mean, that's up for you to decide. I don't have the intel to tell you 100% yes, 100% no. I'm not in the rooms. I'm just telling you what the conversation is online. 615-737-9986. A lot of people think the Iran conflict is Israel's war. Let's go to Jim in Clarksville real quick. What's up, Jim?
Hey, Chris. First of all, I want to touch on what you said yesterday. When you first come on the air, you and Matt, I couldn't wait to turn on the radio and listen to y'all. I still love both of you. But yesterday you talked about the war being Israel's war basically started. That has nothing to do with it. These people want to kill Americans.
I'm just telling you what the conversation is online, man. And I'm telling you where the young voters are and what they believe.
Well, now listen, I talk to a lot of young voters too, particularly in the military where I'm here in Clarksville. And the military guys, the young ones I talk to, are all for what we're doing. So maybe we're talking to a different set of people. The next thing is you're talking about housing, cost of housing for millennials. Listen, Trump has nothing to do with that. That's Powell. We're trying to get rid of Powell. Powell controls that. He can't lower interest rates without Powell. You know that.
Yes.
Is that correct?
But I'm telling you that there's an affordability crisis going on, and that it hasn't been fixed yet. It was one of the big promises of the administration, and these young voters are just seeing costs go up and gas prices go up, and they're losing their minds.
Well, Chris, think about what I'm fixing to say. Your radio station, I tune in to hear what is going on. If I wanted to hear liberal talk, I would turn on a liberal talk. If I was a millennial yesterday and I turned on your radio station and listened to you for about 5 minutes, I would have believed that the Republican Party is not doing a darn thing, can't do nothing. The truth is, you can't do anything by having the House, the Senate, and the presidency unless the Democrats vote 60 votes.
I mean,
so
the truth is that they could have nuked the filibuster months ago, and we would have been further down the field. But the Republicans don't have the fight. No, the Republicans don't have the fight that the Democrats have. And we signed up to get some fighters. We signed up to get some fighters.
I agree with that.
And,
I agree with that 100%.
I mean, young voters feel like this administration is backhanding them. I mean, I can make the case that they're not. I can absolutely do that. And I know this is an uncomfortable reality, but that's just the facts. And a lot of this is self-inflicted. The guy ran on no new wars, and we're in a war. The guy ran on.
Chris, listen. You know, when the Iranians tell you they're going to kill you, they're going to use a nuclear bomb on you, you better believe it. I mean, these people, think about what would happen if one missile hit the United States. Think about if we had to live like Israel and every night run to a bomb shelter. Think about that, Chris.
Okay, now you do this for me. If Kamala Harris had bombed the nuclear facilities of Iran, said we completely obliterated them, we ended their nuclear program, and then she then got us into another conflict with Iran less than a year later, how would you be feeling at the exact same time?
If they didn't do the job, I'd be feeling great because I think she was doing the right thing. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican. You got to remember, I served in the Vietnam era, Chris, and I didn't agree with the Vietnam War, but I volunteered for the military.
I think this is the divide between our generations, and I'll tell you why. Because during the Vietnam War, we got lied into that conflict because of the Gulf of Tonkin incident. And there was no capabilities for the American public to decipher the lies of the mainstream media or the government at that time. However, now we have social media and we can debunk lies in real time. So a lot of people see what's happening and they're just like, this doesn't add up. I don't like this. Why are we doing this? This isn't what you promised. And we can go back and roll the tape.
Social media has nothing to do with this as far as
you're absolutely you're absolutely wrong.
Not reality,
you're so
not
wrong.
reality, Chris.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong.
Not reality.
The
not
largest.
reality.
I mean, if you don't want Democrats in power, then you should listen because the younger generation is the largest voting bloc. They are not getting their news from ABC and CBS and NBC and Fox News and CNN and MS Now. They're not. They're getting it on social media. This is what the conversation is online. So we need to attack this conversation head on, or we can kiss it goodbye, and then we're going to have a lame duck president, which I don't want. And then you could have a potential scenario where Democrats walk in 2028. And then they're going to do, all the things. They're going to do all
running you down.
But they're going to do all the things. They're going to do all the things that we would hope and pray the Republicans would do because the Democrats actually fight. They're going to nuke the filibuster. You got to keep
promoting the good things, Chris. You got to get off the negatives so much and promote the good ones. That's what we turn you on for. That's what we turn the radio on for.
If all I do is look at it through rose-colored glasses, then the younger generation who we're trying to win back over and bring back into the fold, they're not going to listen at all.
Well, they're going to listen and turn it off. And when you get so negative about the three things I talked about yesterday, immigration. I mean, immigration has been cut off at the border, and we can't fix everything in a year and a half. You got to help us, Chris. That's what we turn you on for, brother.
Bud, I understand that, but we have to be honest with ourselves, or we're the.
Let me be honest one more time and not talk about you in particular, but the radio guy that comes on at 12. I know a bunch of people won't listen to from 12 to 3.
I don't have anything to do with any other show but my own.
I know that, but the reason for it is what I'm saying, Chris. We need you, brother. Help us.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you want me to help, we have to be able to tell the truth, or they're going to think that we lie, just like the mainstream media. We can't have that. It's 10:57. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I got to tell you about my friends at the Glock Store. Love the guys at the Glock Store. And they got a big open house coming up on Saturday, May 30th. I was just down there a couple weekends ago for the Simunition Force on Force training exercise, and it's my favorite place to train. The Shoot 270 indoor ranges are absolutely incredible. Better than any lane range where you're punching paper holes, holes in paper targets. Better than any of that. And if you've never been to the Glock Store, you're going to be able to see it firsthand at the open house on May 30th. They have the best open house every single year. Great speakers, demonstrations, shooting competitions, vendor tables with factory reps giving away free swag, and the biggest and best open to the public free gun gear raffle in all of Nashville, probably the entire country. Last year, they gave away over $25,000 in incredible raffle prizes that included 3 Glocks, a Glock Store custom Glock that was worth over $2,000. One of our listeners won that Glock. I've seen pictures of it. Gorgeous. How many Glocks are they giving away this year? We'll keep you posted, but I'm hearing it's going to be amazing. Glock Store's 6th annual open house, Saturday, May 30th. You should be there. I'll be there. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, and always open online. Glockstore.com.
11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers in Portland. We've got some construction work slowing you down. It's about a 10-minute delay, 65 southbound right there at exit 117. Then here in Antioch, got the right shoulder blocked by a crash, 24 eastbound at the Blue Hole Road overpass. Teacher pay quickly becoming a major focus during Nashville's public schools budget talks last night. Several board members said rising costs mean educators need stronger raises to stay in the classroom. One member went on record calling for a 4% cost of living increase. District leaders say any raises will depend on how much funding comes from the city. Early voting now underway in Tennessee for the May 5th state and county primary election. Davidson County voters can cast ballots at any early voting location from now through April 30th. Officials say early voting helps voters avoid long lines and resolve any issues ahead of Election Day. A valid government-issued photo ID required to vote in person. Operation Epic Fury. Ceasefire holding as the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is now said to be in full effect. Here's Karen Travers at the White House.
He is expressing confidence and optimism, but not explaining why he is confident and optimistic, because there are no talks right now scheduled between the U.S. and Iran. The president indicated to our John Carl that there could be an amazing 2 days ahead, but he didn't elaborate on what that meant. He was asked if Vice President Vance might be involved in further talks between the U.S. and Iran, and he said that he could be, but notably, there is nothing scheduled right now.
The Department of Justice is now asking a federal appeals court to vacate the convictions of several people convicted in the January 6th riot. The request covers people who were not covered by President Trump's grants of clemency on his first day in office. They would affect members of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. We get more from ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas.
In Tuesday's filing, DOJ officials stated that they have no further interest in seeking to uphold the convictions. President Trump has claimed that the Biden DOJ had been overzealous in its prosecutions. Critics say the administration is trying to purge history by erasing the convictions of people who had committed obvious acts of violence, all in the name of blocking the peaceful transfer of power.
Well, a Florida physician has been indicted in the death of a 70-year-old man after a medical procedure turned fatal. Here's Jim Ryan.
In August of 2024, Bill Bryan and his wife were at their vacation property in Destin, Florida, when Bill started feeling a pain in his side. He was diagnosed with a ruptured cyst on his spleen and rushed into surgery.
They removed his liver instead of his spleen.
Beverly Bryan is his widow.
So, of course, he bled to death on the operating room table.
She filed suit. Now Dr. Thomas Shagnovsky has been indicted on a second-degree manslaughter charge. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
8 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Lightning rod of a topic. It seems like we're pitting generations against each other. I don't really want to do that. But we're talking about the realities of the midterms on the way, the realities of the conflict in Iran, and the realities of the Trump administration. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people. I put a lot on the line to get this guy elected. I know a lot of people did. We lost family. We lost friends. Some people lost jobs. I mean, we were willing to go the distance. And a lot of young voters were doing the exact same thing. And they feel like this administration has turned on them. We are taking your phone calls, 615-737-9986. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. Let's go to John in Utah. What's up, John?
It's Joe.
Oh, Joe, what's up, man?
Man, we talked on Monday, Chris, and your last caller kind of highlighted what I was going to talk to you about. I was in Colorado the other day, and here's what I feel, and where you're what he was saying. One of the last caller was saying to you is, today I've been listening. I didn't get to listen yesterday. I was really curious about what you're going to be saying about what Trump said about Riley Gaines and blah blah blah. When he's talking about Chad Benson and Bell Kay, I'm sorry that Ken Weaver's messed up in any of those with those guys. I started turning them off about 6 months ago.
Hey,
I don't listen to that.
Joe,
I know you don't have any
real
control
talk, man.
over any
Joe,
other show.
Joe, like,
real
let's
talk
leave,
is simply this.
Can we just leave?
All right.
Hey, no, but not just for you, but just for everybody. Like criticisms of the other guys, like just leave it for the other guys. Okay, I don't want to. I don't want to get bogged down.
Here we go. I worked during the first Bush term. Big Daddy Bush, not How to Duty Bush, that got us into 9/11. All these people talk. I worked 3 jobs in order to pay rent. I'm 60 years old. I served my country. I was working part-time jobs when while I was in the military in order to have a vehicle to drive. I made $150.
Well, thank you for your service. I appreciate that.
Oh, you told me that the other day. It was my honor and privilege. But what I hear you doing specifically, how old are you, Chris?
37.
37. So you're right there in the flux of it, and you're saying that you feel like the current administration betrayed us.
No.
I don't
I'm
feel
saying
that way.
I'm saying no.
And you're losing your older callers because of this, and I'll start tuning you out just like I did.
I can, but Joe,
you're stirring the pot on a continuous basis. When you got the younger callers on, you're going, I hear you, man. And anytime any of the older callers say anything to you that is relevant to what the cost of living was then, you want to flip over to say, well, houses were a fraction of the cost that they are now. Yeah, but we only made $2.95 an hour at that time, and we weren't out riding around in our pickup trucks. And I know what I-95 is. I'm a truck driver.
But I-65. But like, I love you, man, and I could whisper
I love
sweet.
you too, bro. I love you.
I could whisper sweet nothings into your ear all day. Can I tell you the reality?
I'm not asking you. I am not asking you.
The reality
to
is
sweet nothings.
The reality is Gen Z.
You are baiting.
Gen Z and millennial voters are the biggest voting bloc in the country. We need them to win elections.
Then speak to that. Speak to them by saying things like this. Stay the course, young people. Stay the course. It's not going to change in a year and a half.
If I
Be
tell them everything is perfect, and they can look and say that's objectively not true. I mean, but you have to understand. No. You have to understand the frustration that millennials and Gen Z have with the older generations. It's not just
and I'm watching
today.
them drive up and down the highway when they're paying $250,000 house payments and burning up $5 a gallon gasoline. I mean, we speak about this is causing gas to go up. It's not causing gas to go up. When we're spending this kind of money on fuel. Trump has said that plainly, and I worked the oil field for 20 years as well, at the same time as I'm driving a truck after the military. When we're paying this price, you say it's on a world market.
Joe,
it's called American greed.
Can I tell you?
It's ridiculous.
Can I tell you why the younger generation is so frustrated? This is the straw that broke the camel back. But no. But your generation fell asleep at the wheel. In just about every single industry. The medical industrial complex, the food, immigration, entertainment. I mean, every single industry got taken over by the woke liberals while you guys were on guard. And because of that, no. Let me finish. Let me finish. Can I finish? Can I finish?
Here's why you're losing. Here's why you're losing your listeners.
Can I finish?
Goodbye, Chris. Have a great day,
Can I finish?
Have a great day.
Because of that generation, we got 30 million illegal aliens in this country. We had DEI putting a thumb down on white males for decades now. This frustration is boiling over. If you don't want to address it, you don't have to. But there is frustration here that is righteous frustration. I mean, the whole "Make America Healthy Again" movement is because the older generation didn't realize that maybe we should stick with real food. I mean, what are we doing? Let's go to Dave in Smyrna. What's up, Dave?
What's up, man? It's your favorite Hebrew.
I love my favorite Hebrew.
You've had a rough morning, dude.
Oh, no. I've actually liked this morning. I think that these conversations need to be had, and I like having them.
I agree. And so I kind of fall in the middle, or at least I like to tell myself I do.
You're Gen X, right?
Age-wise, I'm 47 years old. And, my dad was in the Navy. We were stationed overseas, and that was back in the early 80s when the Libyans were blowing stuff up. I remember my father having to check under the car for bombs before he went to work at the NATO base every day. I'm old enough to remember, just barely, the Marine Corps barracks bombing, the U.S. Embassy bombing. Iran was behind all that. I'm also I also seem to remember a bunch of my contemporaries being killed and maimed by EFPs created in Iran when we were in Iraq. But, I must be the only one who remembers history, but I'll tell you a short story, one that's true that a lot of people don't realize. Iran did a lot of that stuff to us back in the 80s, especially back in Lebanon. One of the main things that they did was they kidnapped a guy named Bill Buckley, who was the CIA station chief. He was a decorated Green Beret in Vietnam. And Hezbollah, Imad Mughniyeh, who is the head of Hezbollah, who the Israelis helped us kill, Imad Mughniyeh and Hezbollah grabbed this guy off the street and tortured him for months and sent videotapes of his torture to the White House. It's required viewing at the farm, the videotapes of what they did to this guy. And over the months, the CIA's intelligence networks in that part of the world just started disappearing. And then they gave everything that they got from this guy to the Russians. The Iranians have had this coming for a long time. Now, I will say that I agree with you. Trump ran on, we're not getting into wars. I happen to believe that, if you feel that war is needed, then the best thing to do is not to nation build. It's to go in there, break stuff, kill people, and create favorable terms for your exit. I'd like to think that that's what's going on now.
I mean, I hope so. And I think you could give him more grace and space on this and trust the plan, as a lot of people want to do, if it wasn't so many other things happening in the background at the exact same time. And it's like it just feels like this is like the final straw for the younger generation. Again,
what kind of scares me though, Chris, is and I won't say scare me. It's disappointing to me. Israel seems to be the only target of people's ire. There are a lot of other countries that donate a whole lot more money to our. I mean,
well, this is one of the things
donates to the political process,
but
it far outstrips
and
what
I'm not,
Israel donates to the political process.
I'm not anti-Israel by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying
but
this is where this conversation is troubling.
But this is why we need to address it, because if we don't, then they're going to go look for that information elsewhere. And I think the Israel lobby has some issues coming up, man. There are a lot of people that think that there's too much influence in this country from Israel. There's a lot of people that don't want to send foreign aid over to Israel. A lot of people that think we're fighting Israel's wars. And when you try to have nuanced conversations about that, you get screamed at for being anti-Semitic. And it's like, hey, wait a second. Before October 7th, half the country was trying to impeach Benjamin Netanyahu. Like, I'm not painting with a broad brush here. I think that you can have nuanced conversations about governments and not be talking about groups of people.
Yes, I thoroughly agree. I think I don't pretend to know hardly anything about Israeli politics, but I think Likud's time in running that government is rapidly drawing to a close. And if it's not Likud's time drawing to a close, it's certainly Bibi's. But like if you look at the Israelis, we can't afford to have weak leaders running our country because of mischief that goes on around the world. Those folks certainly cannot afford to have weak leaders running their country because look at the neighborhood they live in.
Yep.
So, if you're Israeli and you want to still keep breathing, do you vote for the people who say, "Oh, well, we'll just send flowers and love to the Palestinians who raise their kids to kill ours," or are you going to say, "No, we're going to vote for the people who are going to put foot to ass to do to these people what they did to us on October 7th?"
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. I do.
Yeah, it's quite the conundrum. But I would highly encourage anybody who thinks that we're doing this solely because of Israel's bidding. I would highly encourage people to go talk to some Iraq vets who got maimed by EFPs, or talk to some of the older guys about the stuff that happened in Lebanon in the 80s, the barracks bombing, the embassy bombing, the snatching of the station chief, the murder of those 3 Navy divers on the TWA flight. Imad Mughniya did that too. These people have a lot of American blood on their hands, and
100%.
Their bill is long past due.
I'm not taking up for them. I'm just wondering,
No, I know you're not.
Is this America first?
Yeah. Justice delayed is justice denied. Isn't that what they say?
That's what they say. Dave, I appreciate the call as always, my friend. Thank you so much.
Have a good one, man.
You too. Let's go to Lenny in Cedar Hill. What's up, Lenny?
Hey, Chris. I just want to say you're absolutely right about these kids with phones now. I have 3 sons. I'm 50 years old. My dad did 30 years, retired from Fort Campbell Military Army Base. And my son's 25, 23, and 21. And none of them want to sign up and fight for what's going on because they see that. They get their information from the phone. They don't watch CNN, Fox, none of that. To them, that's propaganda.
Yeah.
And we need to pay attention to what our young are saying because they are our future.
Yeah, and that's not a meme. I mean,
lose it all.
They're the largest voting bloc in the country. So if we're not paying attention, we're signing the death certificate on the Republican Party.
That's right, and we all voted for America first, like every other country does it. They put their people first. Why can't we put us first instead of the world? And that's how these young kids are thinking now. They're not stupid.
Well, and I think and for everybody that wants to like put thumb their nose at these younger generations, it's like, hey, you know how the Minnesota fraud got exposed? Oh, it was a Gen Zer. Hey, do you know how the protests are being covered in the streets when the Hamas supporters are out there? Oh, it's Gen Zers. Hey, do you know when there's protests outside the ICE facility? It's Gen Zers covering those protests. Like they're out there doing the work. They are boots on the ground. And for people to just kind of backhand them as these lazy do-nothings that want everything handed to them for free, I think that is a mistake, a very, very big mistake.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I just want you to know that, because I have 3 boys, and none of them want to sign up, and it's in our blood to go fight. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man.
They will not sign up because of the way that it's being run, and they see it. They're not stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lenny, and I appreciate the call. I got time for one more. Let's go to Danny in Tullahoma. Daniel, what's up, man?
Hey, man, I was just calling because I'm 30, and a lot of the older callers have been giving you a hard time. They don't see things like we do. Like, they've already made their money. They already own their house. They're already getting equity in their homes that they're able to take out a mortgage on again to live a good life. They don't see it how we see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to paint with a broad brush. I mean, like, we do have a lot of older listeners in the audience, and not everybody's well off. But I do think that there is a huge divide where people are like, oh, we didn't have it as easy as you kids have it. And I'm like, hey, you guys didn't have DEI holding you down as a white male. Our generation did for decades. We haven't been able to ascend into these positions. And then you put people who check diversity boxes in, and you wonder why everything's falling apart. Like, I don't want to put all the blame on boomers, but to say that they were good stewards in a lot of these fields, from health to food to media to immigration, that wouldn't be the truth.
Right, but they also don't see it like we do. Like, we live in separation of church and state, so why are we constantly harping about Israel's great this, Israel that, we have to support Israel, when they stole our atomic secrets back in, like, the 60s?
Yeah.
I mean, how's that our best friend?
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of nuanced conversation to be had there. I mean, you can bring up the USS Liberty. You can bring up selling secrets to China. I mean, you could even go back as recent as, what was it, after we bombed the Natanz facility the first time around in 25, Trump is like, all right, we're done. We're out of there. And Israeli planes are already en route to go bomb them again after they had said we're done. I mean, everybody remembers the clip, Donald Trump running around going, they don't know what the F they're doing. I don't necessarily think Donald Trump is being dog-walked by Israel. I think Trump is making his own decisions, and there's a little bit of overlap. But we have to address these conversations, or they're going in the other direction.
Right. I mean, every time that Trump tried to negotiate, or his team, Israel would go and kill the negotiators.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to look into that. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can check that out. But yeah, and on the other topic, like people in my age group, people that I know, we either plan to sit out the next midterms and the 2028, or out of spite because we feel like we've been stabbed in the back, we're going to vote Democrat for the first time in our lives. Because it's kind of like,
here's what I would tell you.
What else do we got to lose?
Everything. I would say everything, actually. And this is why we have to have this conversation with younger voters. You have everything to lose. If Democrats regain power and they get back in the House, they're going to do exactly what the Republicans won't. They'll nuke the filibuster. D.C. and Puerto Rico will be a state. We'll have amnesty for 30 million illegal aliens. And this country will never, ever, ever, ever recover. Like, these are the conversations that we need to have. Because there's so many people like you out there that I've talked to. They're like, I'm going to sit it out, or I'll vote Democrat as a protest vote. We don't have time for protest votes. We don't. Because if the Democrats regain the levers of power, they're going to use them in ways that the Republicans are too scared, too weak, or too soft to do. I appreciate your call, Danny. It's 11:26. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand here for my friends at Conservatives for Lower Health Costs. President Trump is doing what politicians have promised for decades, but never delivered, actually fighting to lower prescription drug costs for American families and seniors. He's forced Big Pharma to make deals, reform pharmacy benefit managers, and launch Trump RX. That's a platform to buy medications at dramatically reduced prices. Real relief for Tennessee families, seniors, and anyone who's ever had to choose between a prescription or paying rent. But right now in Nashville, some politicians are pushing Senate Bill 2040. This is the so-called Fair Prescription Act. They say it sounds reasonable, but it's not. And the estimates are that if it passes, it would force the closure of hundreds of pharmacies across Tennessee overnight, which would mean thousands of jobs eliminated and over 1.5 million patients scrambling to find care. Many of these pharmacies serve rural communities where the nearest pharmacy is 30 minutes away. SB 2040 could also cut off mail order delivery that hurts veterans, seniors who can't drive, and Trump RX itself. Conservatives for Lower Health Costs say this is big government at its worst. You try to solve one problem by creating a handful more. They're sounding the alarm. You can learn more and decide for yourself at protecttnrx.com.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We are tracking the potential for some severe weather tomorrow in Middle Tennessee. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Operation Epic Fury, 9 vessels have been turned around at the Strait of Hormuz during the first 48 hours of the U.S. blockade, complying with U.S. orders, according to U.S. Central Command. The Pakistani delegation, led by its army chief, has arrived in Tehran to discuss upcoming talks with the U.S., and President Trump says China has agreed not to send weapons to Iran, and he says China is, quote, very happy that the U.S. is undertaking the operation in Iran to ensure the Strait of Hormuz is open in the future. And a new rideshare plan for downtown Nashville means new rules for designated zones, maybe new fees, with the goal of reducing congestion and improving safety. Here's Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac.
The new program would create designated pickup zones and expand geofencing, which is basically limiting where drivers can pick up and drop off their passengers. It also includes a possible fee for trips that start or end downtown during peak hours.
So to make room for these areas, about 31 metered parking spots are going to be removed, costing about $35,000 per year. It could start as soon as next month. And what began as a routine Metro Schools budget discussion turned into a debate over teacher pay. Board members say investing in staff is critical for recruiting and keeping teachers. Some are now pushing for a 4% cost of living increase for teachers in Nashville. The final decision will depend on funding included in the mayor's upcoming Metro budget. Early voting for Tennessee state and county primary elections underway as of today. Voters can cast ballots now through April 30th at any early voting location in their county. The primary election set for Tuesday, May 5th. Polling locations, hours, and ID requirements are available at govotetn.gov. A valid government-issued photo ID is required to vote. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand, and you've heard me talk about my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. That's our veteran-owned, family-run safe and vault door business right here in Middle Tennessee. And let's be honest, a lot of us want a safe. You want a safe, I want a safe, but we've all been putting it off because we got to figure out which one to buy, where to put it, and then how to get it installed. Like, do I bolt this thing to the ground? What am I doing? Aaron's going to answer all of these questions for you. Let's start on his YouTube page. You'll find a detailed video review for every safe they have in stock. You search Parker Safes on YouTube. From there, when you find the right safe, you talk to Aaron, and the rest, Aaron and his sons take care of. They'll help you choose the best safe for your needs and budget. They'll offer the best place to put it. They'll deliver it, and they'll carefully install it. Aaron just told me that they have some great deals going on right now. Plenty of safes in stock, ready to go. Not big box store cabinets that can be tipped over by a teenager or pried open. No. These are real safes, quality safes from American Security, Rhino, Liberty, Heyman, and more. Don't put it off any longer. Call Aaron today. You're going to be glad you did. 931-842-6445. It's Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. And if you mention the Chris Hand Show, when you buy your new safe, you'll get a free pistol safe while supplies last. Find them online, parkersafes.com. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Do you need some health insurance, or are you paying too much for health insurance? or you don't really know what you could do with your health insurance, well, talk to my friend Shane Ring today. If you think you got to wait for open enrollment to get covered, that's wrong. That's what the big guys want you to think. It's a myth. If you missed open enrollment, you can get covered right now today. No waiting, no gimmicks. You lost your job coverage, same deal. You're sick of overpriced junk insurance, you're in the right place. See, Cover Nash partners with all the companies, 75 top-rated insurance companies, including brand-new nationwide PPO options with deductibles as low as $250, flat $50 doctor visits, and ACA-compliant plans with free preventative care. Not that you're excited about a colonoscopy, but at least you're not paying for it. Plans for individuals, families, self-employed folks, even small businesses. It's time for you to stop overpaying, stop waiting, and stop thinking you're stuck, because you're not, with our friends at Cover Nash. You can go to covernash.com to book some time with Shane Ring right now, or you can pick up the phone and call him directly, 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023, or find him online, covernash.com. Thirty-six minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We appreciate you calling in, joining the show. You're welcome to. 615-737-9986. My friend Tony in Canada has been holding for a minute. Tony, I appreciate you holding as long as you did. What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. What do you got?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I've been listening to your callers, and this is a traditional argument that I've studied in diplomatic history when I was studying in the U.S. between national politics in your country. It's called isolationism versus nationalism. And your generation, and I've been listening to you, Chris, it's more of a generational thing. And the intergenerational issue for me is that you're all Americans and you should all be pulling for the same sled. You know, it's the country that's going in one direction. And your opponents, which are the Democrats and the Neville Roy Singhs, the Soros people, they love this type of discussion where the Republicans are tearing each other apart generation after generation. And I'll just say something about the world stage. You know, Trump doesn't want to get into a war, but the rest of the world are basically cowards. They allow for a nation of dictators. They are scheming. They say they have a religion, but it's a cult. It's a political movement for domination on the world. You see what they're doing to England and Europe.
I've said that numerous times on the show. Islam is not a religion. It's a political ideology masquerading as a religion.
100%, 1,000%. And you see what they're doing in Europe. But, you know, Hungary kicked back. Giorgia Meloni kicked back. Georgia said very simply, if you come to our country, you have to sweat for our citizenship. And if you don't want to run by our rules and regulations, well, the world is big. You can go to another Islamic country where they persecute Christians, persecute the church, persecute the cross. And if you want to go there, go there. That's where you'll be happy. But in this country, in Italy, you must sweat for our citizenship, and we idolize Christianity. And therefore, if you're not happy, leave. So in your country, in Canada, in Europe, where we have a Judeo-Christian background, we should all be fighting the opponents. In the real world, which I'm talking about the world outside of our countries, the threat to us is Islamofascism, is the communists in China and Russia. Russia is the most dastardly of all of the powers because they shake your hands and at the same time they support Iran against your own people. And if one American dies by a drone, that's because the Russians are helping the Iranians. And the young generation, I'll just say this. I have kids that are 29, 30, and 32. I listen to my kids. My son is worse right-wing than I am. He wants no taxes. He also says I can't buy a house. But you know what? We're all in this together. When I was buying a house, I was paying close to 14.5% for my home in 1989. And it's the same economy. Our two economies are joint. But I want to wish your country the best, because Trump is going to try to solve that problem, because it's an intergenerational problem. Those people in Iran are sick. They will destroy Israel. Next step, Europe. Next step, North America. They want to take, and their agents are in Dearborn, they're in Dallas, and they're in Edmonton.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Enemy, not the Republican Party.
I agree with that, but we lose the big tent when we don't acknowledge or we brush off the concerns from the younger generation, which is the largest voting bloc in the country, and we tell them, and we tell them, if we tell them, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, it is one of the most infuriating things that you can tell the younger generation.
No, we cannot say that to the younger generation. Every generation is a building block on the previous generation, and the current generation and the future generations. What Trump is doing is saying to the generations that are coming, not just the Zoomers, but the future generations, we want a planet that's safe. We want a planet that's in peace. And Trump is the only world-class leader that has any gumption to go into Iran. Look at the Chinese. They're not doing anything. The Russians are doing nothing. All of the Europe takes a back seat because they're scared of Trump. When Trump says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And he's not doing it for Europe. He's doing it for your country and countries that support him. And so the people in Tennessee, there are Canadian people like me that support the Republicans and that are conservatives, because we want to see your country strong. We want to see the cowards of the world eliminated. Pol Pot, all of these former dictators, they have to be eliminated. The same thing happened in Africa when they were killing Christians. And
I think that everything you're saying is correct. I'm just making the case that this is the straw that's breaking the camel's back for these younger voters.
I hope not. I hope not.
It absolutely is. People are getting blackpilled. They think that this is Israel's war, not America's. And by even saying that, but by even saying that, they're getting shouted down as anti-Semitic. And this is after
you're entitled to agree or disagree with the Iranian war. That's your right. When we were protesting Vietnam, people died at Kent State. And the former callers that said that we didn't have social media. No, we had protests for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. They were against that war. And it was daily. It was in every newspaper. It was in every TV station. So that war came to an end. Whether it was Lyndon Johnson or Nixon, that war came to an end through youth and the boomers that were against that war. Nobody is for war. But we are. If this was Nazi Germany and they were killing people, 6 million, I think any generation would say that's not right and we got to do something. If we sit there, okay, and do nothing, and we do not take up the cause of people that are being bullied, killed, and destroyed, just like that former fellow that called from Colorado said, how many people, Americans, that were tortured, killed by the same organization. Guys, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, they are just agents of the Iranians. These are the sickest people on the planet. They are the most dangerous. They will kill everybody in the United States if they had a button to press.
Yeah,
that's what we got to worry about.
I don't disagree with that, Tony, and I appreciate the call as always, my man. Thank you for holding as long as you did. Let's keep it moving. We got D'Angelo on line 1 in Lebanon. He wants to comment on DEI. What's up, D'Angelo?
What's going on, man? Listen,
how you doing?
Just listening to you. I'm doing well. I've been listening to you. You're saying that I guess DEI was the thing that was slowing the white males down. Am I correct when I heard you say that?
That DEI has put a thumb on white males. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about racism that has existed since I guess you would say Jim Crow?
What about anti-white racism? Is that are you allowed to be racist against white people?
No, ain't nobody's being racist against white people. But
no,
you're making an issue.
You don't think so?
About DEI.
Yeah.
You're making an issue about DEI, but then you ignore the issue that racism has existed from black codes to Jim Crow to segregation All throughout history.
You're absolutely right.
You know,
How many white men died in the Civil War to end slavery, D'Angelo?
Well, I don't know how many white
right?
men
Weird
died.
how it was white people fighting to end slavery.
No, let me finish.
Weird.
All right.
Which political party started the KKK? Oh, it was Democrats. Weird, D'Angelo.
It was the Democrats. Yeah, but then when did the party switch? Let's go back to what, 1964? Is that when that party switched?
You're doing the mythical switch again?
No, I'm not doing a mythical switch.
Okay.
I'm not doing a mythical switch. I'm just saying is that it is so interesting when you say that it is DEI that is holding the white man down or the white male down, but then you completely ignore racism that has existed since the end of slavery. I mean, you just will not acknowledge that it has held a whole race of people back.
So
and I just don't understand that. But
can you then explain it to me? And I would love to hear it. How did racism hold you back, D'Angelo?
Well, there have been jobs that I did not get because of the color of my skin.
Weird, because that's exactly what I'm talking about with DI. You know that the job board Indeed.com is actually dealing with a lawsuit. They're dealing with a lawsuit. No.
Hey, dude, there is no comparison.
Yes,
there is no comparison.
There absolutely is.
Tell me what point in time did you not get a job? Tell me what point in time did you not get a job because of the color of your skin?
There's been plenty of jobs that have been passed over because of the color of my skin.
Such as what?
There was an afternoon job in Detroit that I got passed over for the color of my skin. In fact, this job that I currently have, they had to fight tooth and nail to hire me. God bless Dan Mandis for doing it, because do you know who they wanted to hire? They wanted to find a female, preferably black.
Yeah, I remember that time. I do remember that time. I think they were actually looking at Candace Owens at the time. But the fact of the matter is that
I'll be honest with you, Cumulus couldn't afford Candace.
So. That's the reason why they didn't get her.
No, I don't think that they were never in serious talks to get Candace Owens.
No, listen, I've been listening to your show the whole entire time today, and there's a lot of stuff that I agree with you on. All right,
yeah.
Most of the time I disagree with you, but this dig that you keep making at DEI, and as though the DEI has really set the white man back. I mean, dude, I just think that is so. It is. I just think it's something that is. You wanted to upset the white male back, and I just don't. There's no way.
I don't.
I
have actual evidence of DEI holding the white man back.
There's no evidence that it's holding that man white.
Okay,
man
there
back.
is a lawsuit that's going on right now against Indeed.com, one of the biggest job application websites out there, where they were filtering out resumes of white males. If you didn't check the right box, your resume didn't make it to the inbox of the hirer.
Resume of black people with the different types of names.
It's funny. It's funny that you bring that up, because one of the points. Can I finish? It's funny. It's funny you bring that up. One of the points of contention. Can I answer you? One of the points of contention was actually a white male who applied to a job with Coca-Cola, and he had an extensive history. He was very qualified for the job. Didn't even get a phone call. They said, sorry, you're not what we're looking for. Automated response. He changed his name to Jamal. He eliminated half of his qualifications, and he got a phone call that week.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you want me to say? It's anecdotal evidence, but it's there. They're filing a lawsuit.
Are you going to let me finish?
By all means.
The exact same thing that you just said, I can say the exact same thing about minorities trying to get jobs, minorities trying to get houses. It's the exact same way.
The difference is that there have been white people every step of the way trying to help that cause out.
Listen,
from the Civil War,
bro.
From even the inception of this country. From the inception of this country. They were trying to eliminate slavery.
Dude, I'm sorry, bro.
Do you know there's more slavery going on in the world now than there was during Civil War era?
So no. I'm not going to that area because I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm not going to sit there and like I know what you're talking about.
No, I guess we're just talking at each other. Then I appreciate the call. Let's go to Steven, who's a FedEx truck driver. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, I was listening to your Canadian guy right before the last guy. You got some tumultuous callers, but he took a lot of the thunder I was going to talk about with the Iran conflict. I'm 54, Gen X.
Okay.
Anyways, you know that the Lords of London insured until everything happened and pulled that. And so there was no insurance. They couldn't go through. They lied about the mines, blah, blah, blah. Trump's resetting the global stage right now. I would encourage the younger viewers, the people that I don't like the war. I'm not very big fan of the war, but there is a bigger global implication because of the globalists and what's going on with everything. Because now the oil that China got from Venezuela is gone. The oil that they're getting from the Hormuz, the Straits, is barely coming through. Russia and China are in check right now. And the biggest part of it is we get out of NATO with the UK, which is a disastrous place, plus most of the European countries. And I'm going to send some links to you on your X page because the GB News and a lot of there's conservative commentators all over the world. They see the bigger picture, the greater North America. I know Mark Carney's not a big part of that because Canada's hate to, go against the Canadian guy's country that he had there, but they're as big as a globalist as they get. And right now, Trump is resetting this global stage. Me and my buddy, we go back and forth about it all the time. We do not like gas prices. We do not like the idea of war. But Trump's doing something bigger. And when you say it's not America first, you're wrong because it is America first if you look at the bigger picture.
I mean, but aren't you just going full 4D chess, plan trusting, and filling in a lot of blanks with confirmation bias with what your theory is?
No. I'm looking at strategic points of what they do. The UK gets 70% of their imports, just like we did. We are all about what you said before, bringing back manufacturing jobs, the base, being energy independent, doing the deregulation, all of the other. That takes us out of that globalist scheme. Do you want to be a part of NATO still and listen to all those stupid and dumb
not one bit
liberals that want to happen to their country? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, we're all about protecting everybody's rights, which is what we should be. But on the globalist scale, they protect everybody's rights no matter what. And we're not the world police, like you said, and I don't like the conflict. But out of this conflict, I know, especially my buddy has said this, it's going to be 2 years before we see the repercussions of what's going to happen. But if we get $1.25, $1.50 gas, that trickles down just like everything else. And that's going to be a minute, and hopefully it'll be quicker than later. But for right now, we have to, like you said, and you say all the time, we're in it. We got to finish it. We got to win it. And in this stage, encourage your younger viewers to see the bigger picture because I know they're struggling, and I get that. But there is a lot of criteria, too, with that argument that you've had about all those things with the younger people, with how they have a hard time. They've got $1,200 phones. They've got all kinds of delivery of food. There's a lot of things we did not have. When I grew up, I had a bicycle and a yard. You didn't get to go out and do stuff.
It's very easy to point at the $1,200 phone, but good luck having a job these days without one. And the food delivery, I mean, it's kind of painting with a broad brush. We don't know what individuals are doing with their own economic situation.
They're living in a whole different world than what we did when we were kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
if
you
we
lived
had monopolies, we were lucky.
and you and I lived in a whole different world than our parents. I mean, this is just how it goes.
Right, yes. And I do blame a lot of the boomers for a lot of the things. I blame some of the Gen X. But God forbid, Lyndon B. Johnson and the decisions that the guy was talking about earlier, he didn't help things. And all past that, you had Gerald Ford, you had Nixon. My dad loves Nixon for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, past that, you had Jimmy Carter, which I think was worse than Joe Biden. As bad as Joe Biden was just a puppet. Jimmy Carter was just an idiot. I mean, he only did like one or two good things. Yep. But he's the one that started, what's going on with our educational system now. All that crap. And the highest inflation before Biden. So long story short, I know there's a lot of entanglement and there's a lot of nuances that you talk about. But I'm going to send you some links to GB News. And actually on CNN, they had two military intelligence persons talking, and they were opposed, but then they agreed on everything that Trump was doing and the bigger picture. Hey, and I hate to say it, but this bigger picture could actually be what America needs to get out of this globalist. Have you heard the greater North American thing I'm talking about?
Yes.
And I'm willing to give it some, like you said, give him a little space, give him a little bit of optimism, pray, trust, and hope that this works out. And I'm with you. 4 weeks down the road, if we're still fighting this and there's nothing going on and we don't see any end in doubt, is all over the place like it is. I understand with the midterms coming up, but I guarantee you it's going to happen almost anyways. It always happens with every midterm. Conservatives lose the House if there's a Democratic or, vice versa.
Yep, I know.
And
I know it.
I hate to say it. It's just in the cards.
Hey, I appreciate the call, Steve. Thanks for calling in. 615-737-9986, 1155. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Rain season is coming, and if you got waterproofing issues in your crawl space or your basement, it has its eyes set on you. That water's going to get into the crawl space, and when the rain goes away, the water will dry up, and you think my problem's solved, but it's not. Because every time that water comes back, it's getting in the crawl space, getting in the basement. It's creating mold. Your family shouldn't be breathing that. It's creating wood rot. It's weakening your foundation. That's going to lead to bigger problems down the road. Don't let it start small and grow because you're ignoring it. Call United Structural Systems today. These are the guys that have been doing waterproofing and foundation repair since 1994. 30,000 satisfied customers. You're not going to go wrong with USS. They're going to send an expert with a detailed plan on how to fix your home, not a sales guy with a detailed plan on how to worry about his quota. That's the difference with United Structural Systems. If you're dealing with foundation issues, especially after some severe weather, connect with a company committed to quality and the community. That's USS, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or find them online, USSTN.com.